Okay, our goal is to talk about Zoho CRM and to give you a quick tour of the application. So we're on the home page. When you first log in to crm.zoho.com, which is how you're going to get there, crm.zoho.com, pretty easy to remember to get to Zoho CRM, you're going to log in and get your home page. And your home page will have any tasks that you need to do, any leads, etc. But I don't want to focus on that. I think it's better to come back to that later. The first and most important thing you're going to do in your CRM is enter in leads and contacts. So let's talk about contacts first. Contacts would be existing clients, people that you're already doing business with and that you're continuing to support or that you're engaged in some level of the process with. So when you click on contacts, it's just like contacts in an email program. You have the ability to click new contact and go ahead and input a name. So we're going to go ahead and input somebody. We're going to go ahead and put Gianni as the first name. The last name will be Suter, Gianni Suter. And let's give that person an email address, gianni@yahoo.com. And let's go ahead and give that person a phone number of 312-970-9999. And you could give them additional information here. There's all kinds of information such as their date of birth. If they don't want to receive any emails, there's an email opt-out feature so that you don't make a mistake there. There's description information that you can add, etc. There's an additional feature I want you to be aware of when you're adding a contact, and that's account name. Account name is very important because it corresponds to the account tab at the top. And the account is actually if you had more than one person associated with a particular account. Let's say, for instance, that you were taking care of a family of people and it included Gianni Suter and Karen Suter and Peter Suter. So maybe you want to have the Suter account. So let's go ahead and just try that. This is an optional feature. You do not have to use accounts associated with your contacts. However, it's a great way to organize them so that you can pull up and look at a particular account and manage that all of the users associated with that particular account as a group, or all of the contacts. So we're going to call this the Suter account or the Suter family. Let's go ahead and do that. And we're going to save. So now we created a contact and we created an account at the same time. When I go and click on contacts again, I should see Gianni Suter here, the phone number, the email address that I created. I have the ability to delete that contact, to go ahead and edit that contact, etc. And I have some additional features that I can use, like adding a task or an event or a note or sending an email to that particular person. So I have all of these abilities to interact with that particular contact that I've created. And I'll have the ability to do reports and campaigns and etc. later. When I click on the account tab, I automatically see also the list of accounts including the Suter family that we created. Again, the ability to edit that account, delete it, or do various things like add a task or an event. And you see the power of this now, that if there are multiple people associated with the same family or the same account, you can now do an event or a task that involves all of them, or add a note to the group, so that when you are interacting with individual contacts, like say Gianni and Karen, the note is there for both of them. Let's go ahead and just do this one more time. We're going to create a new contact. This time we're going to put Karen Suter, and we're going to go ahead and say it's the Suter account. And as I start typing, you'll notice that it recognizes what I'm typing and says, hey, do you mean this account, the Suter family? Yes, I do. And of course I've got a lookup button here and some other things, but the main thing is that I'm putting it in the same account. So now when I go to contacts, again I have Karen and Gianni. Suter, I didn't add any details like phone number or email, and that's fine. But I can go back to accounts and pull up the Suter family account, and they're both going to be there associated with that particular account. You see both contacts are in there. So it's a real nice way of sort of managing a group of people, and yet they may have different contact information. You may have two separate email addresses and they wish to be emailed at both, or two separate phone numbers that you want to contact both parties, or one particular party because the other person's referring that out. Don't talk to me, talk to my wife, etc. Let's go ahead and edit a contact really quickly. We'll go ahead and put an email address in her email address field, k@k.com. Make a nice email address there. And we'll go ahead and put in a particular phone number, 312-970-8888, and we're done. There are all kinds of additional features that you can see here related to contacts and accounts, but we're just giving you a basic overview. Our goal here is not to go in depth in every possible key click that you might have. That would take probably a week, and it's just unnecessary. You'll get the hang of this as you start using it. Our goal today is just a basic overview. So we've done contacts and accounts. I want to introduce you to leads. Leads, you don't have to use leads as a feature. You could just put everyone into contacts, even if they don't become a client. But sometimes it's nice to be able to run reports or do marketing campaigns that target prospects differently than you target existing clients for repeat business or additional services like support, etc. So, or to give different information. Maybe you want to send a broadcast email campaign to update certain people on certain changes in the law, for instance. You might want to target existing clients separately than you did prospects. So the way Zoho has these set up is contacts and leads. I believe you can customize these and change the names to things like prospects and clients, but our goal right now is just to stick with the basic functionality. You can always look into that later. So contacts and leads. Leads would be someone that is not yet a client but might be. So we're going to add a new lead, and it's exactly the same as adding a contact. We'll go ahead and put a first name in here, and we're going to put Ryan Cabela. And we're going to give him a phone number, 970-7777. We'll give him an email address of ryan@ryan.com. And we can save that lead. Now again, you have the ability to add a company name here, and that is most likely going to be, if you don't want to add a company, it's most likely going to be the family. So you could put something like the Cabela family. All right, and it's going to be the equivalent, though not exactly the same thing, as an account. So we're going to save it. All right, and now when we go to contacts, you're not going to see him there because he is a lead. He is not a regular client, but you are going to see him when we click on leads. When we go to accounts, you are not going to see, you're not going to see, what family name did we put? The Cabela family, that's right. You're not going to see the Cabela family there because technically it's a company name. It's not the same thing. So again, there's some differences here in terms of how it's handled, but remember that you can convert a lead to a contact anytime you wish. So you can go back in and edit that person, and there'll be a way to go ahead and convert that. And we can talk about that at a later date if you want more detailed information. So we have leads, accounts, contacts. There's another concept here called potentials. Let's go ahead and click New Potential. And a potential requires a bit more information. It's similar to a lead. You could treat it as another layer in your marketing or sales process. And so there are stages that you have to choose one of. So it would be like winning an account versus proposing something to account versus doing a needs analysis with that particular account. So if you wanted to use that additional feature, it's very similar, but again, it's just another way of managing it. You could use potentials and contacts, or you could use leads and contacts, or you could just use contacts alone. You have flexibility in how you do your CRM, but I would encourage you to think about these questions at the beginning and really create some examples in each one and explore what the differences are so that you know how you want to manage it from the get-go, because going back and changing it later could be a bit of a task. So if you dump everything in accounts, that's fine. Just make sure that's what you intend to do, for instance. Okay. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the other features to the right of all of this sort of contact management. And the tabs are nicely grouped together. So we have home, leads, accounts, contacts, potentials, and now we have campaigns. So campaigns an example of a campaign would be a marketing campaign. So maybe I want to set up a marketing campaign and I want to do changes in the law. And maybe what this is I'm going to target a group of people and say, look, you really need to go forward. You once inquired about estate information and probate, and you really need to go forward with this because there are changes in the law that make it advantageous to you for tax purposes or for some other reason, or there's going to be a feature that's going away, an opportunity that you had under the law. So maybe that's the reason for calling it that. And your goal is to create a campaign, a marketing campaign related to that. And it gives you some other information, how much you expect to spend on it, how much you expect to gain from it, what the description is, and lets you do a little bit of planning. Now, why would you do this? You probably wouldn't do this in a very small one-person office, but in a collaborative office where you have multiple people involved in adding certain people to a campaign, or monitoring or engaging in campaigns, you have people collaborating on contacts and on campaigns, then you might want to be able to track these things. Also, it gives you nice record keeping and reports, and you can track your results and where your spending is being effective, etc. That campaign could involve anything from mass mailings to phone calls, to setting up personal appointments, to educational seminars, to doing an online webinar like the one we're doing now, either recorded or live. So there's all kinds of things you can do with a campaign. Just keep in mind that this would be a useful way to track it. And again, this is linked with the account information and contact information as well. So once you create a campaign, you'll be able to add different accounts or contacts to it, or leads. So we're not going to go into detail on campaigns. Our goal is just to kind of get you acquainted with the feature. Keep in mind also that there's a help button at the top, and that help button, when you click, will give you very detailed information on all of this stuff. Once you have an overview, it's a lot easier to kind of know your way around in the help system and understand what it's talking about. You need the basic concepts that correspond to these tabs at the top. Okay, another aspect or feature of Zoho CRM is the reports, and you can already see and are probably used to some level of reports in your existing system. So there are account and contact reports. Let's go ahead and click on that, and you can run a list of accounts, for instance, by industry. So if you wanted to focus on, say, a technical industry, or tech type people versus maybe you want to run another, more blue collar type of industry report, you can do that. If you want to just create a mailing list report, you can do that. If you want to focus on key accounts that have more potentials than others, then you could do that. So there are different types of reports there. Also, potential reports are linked to this concept of potentials. So this is part of sort of a sales pipeline. If you're constructing a sales force, even with a small office, where you are taking people through a set of stages in the sales, such as a needs analysis, offering a proposal, setting up a follow-up, closing the account, etc., then you might use the concept of potentials, and you might use potential reports. In a smaller environment where you maybe don't have a full sales team, or you're not engaged in a full sales process, then lead reports might be more appropriate, and using the concept of leads, just to separate prospects from actual clients. So leads would be prospects, where contacts would be clients in that scenario. And there are other types of reports here, like campaign reports, that are related to your marketing campaigns, etc. So it's a great way to see whether your marketing campaigns are generating revenue. If you spent $1,000 on a marketing campaign and you got 10 clients, would that more than pay for would that make the campaign profitable? And these reports are designed to tell you things like that. So again, you can explore reports. Reports are always the most detailed portion of any CRM, so it's not something you want to go into great detail in an overview webinar like this. Dashboards. Okay, so dashboards are an interesting feature. You can create, and we don't have these set up yet right now, because what you're seeing here is part of the sales process, potential dashboards. But you can switch to other types of dashboards. These dashboards give you basically an overview of a particular concept or rubric or idea within your customer tracking and interactions and marketing and so forth. So in an office that doesn't use potentials, you're not going to see much. In an office that uses leads, for instance, you might get more information. So right now we only have a couple of leads, remember, we put in here, but it begins to give us some data. It's similar to reports at a glance. It's sort of like saying, run a report, take just the graph of the report and put it at a glance for me to see on my dashboard. You can do the same thing with account and contacts. And you can see things like how much you sold by a particular account, and then you can see accounts divided by industry. Now that only works if you're filling out the fields. So if you create all your contacts, for instance, and you do not, let's just edit one real quick, and you do not fill out much data, if you don't give it things like what industry they're in, then you're not going to see that data in your reporting or in your dashboard.